So the mid-season patch was just revealed, and with that came 5 new items, but 4 new items in a brand new tree, the Arthurian Tree. So the idea with these items is obviously you've got your normal stats, and then you've got certain things that happen that trigger when you use your ultimate ability, but we don't care about what they do in this video. We're not talking about that. If you want to watch something about that, go check out Duke Sloth or someone. We don't care. Okay, we do care, considering we play the game. We don't care about it for this video. This video is not about that. This video is about the origins of these items. Obviously, these items are based on actual items and weapons.
Well, mythological items. Maybe not real items.
True. Shut up.
No, that would make for a really boring video.
Oh, just imagine like realistic weapons, like I don't know, like have like a slingshot or something. Yeah.
AK-47.
Yeah. We're gonna probably focus more on the tier 3s in this video, considering the tier 1 of this tree is called Gem of Fate, which after googling some stuff about it doesn't really come up. I think that's more just a generic thing. It says on the patch notes, the Arthurian item tree is themed around a gem of fate, which is crafted into a weapon of legend. So it's basically just there to kind of be the building block. And then the tier 2s are called Honed Edge, which is just a description of a weapon. Apprentice Staff, which is just kind of a, generic like wizard thing, and Knight's Shield, which you can't get more generic than that.
It's shield. Who's it used by? Knights. Oh my god.
But the 4 tier 3 items are cool, very cool, and we'll start talking about them now. So first one we'll talk about is Arendite. This one is, as described on the patch notes as well, the Sword of Lancelot. I'll go a little bit of Lancelot in case you're not really familiar. Lancelot, or Lancelot du Lac, that's his full name. Ooh. Lancelot du Lac.
I want a name that cool.
That means Lancelot of the Lake, because he was raised by the Lady of the Lake. Isn't that cool?
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah, there you go. But he's one of the Knights of the Round Table. He typically features as King Arthur's greatest companion, the Lord of Joyous Guard, and the greatest swordsman and jouster of the age. So he's a pretty big deal.
Everyone's heard of Lancelot, I think.
Yeah.
Lancelot, Arthur, and Merlin are almost the 3 most famous. Like, they're so famous they've kind of stopped being part of Arthurian lore, and they're now just their own pop culture things.
Definitely. I mean, he was known for all this stuff until he had an affair with Arthur's wife, Queen Guinevere. Oh, no, that's right. We're not getting out of the weirdness just because it's Arthurian and it's more grounded. No.
I actually thought that the Arthurian was just like a wholesome, happy kind of merry men. Yeah, everyone's happy and good, and we fight for the right.
No, he had an affair with Queen Guinevere, Arthur's wife, which caused a civil war. This was exploited by Mordred, I believe Arthur's nephew. He's like the main baddie of the Arthurian legends, I believe. And he brings about the end of Arthur's kingdom. So back to Lancelot. He was the only knight known to defeat King Arthur during a jousting match. So, again, pretty big deal.
Is that how he introduces himself? Hey, what's up? I'm Lancelot, the only person to have beaten King Arthur in a jousting match. Pretty big deal. Just saying. Pretty big deal. Yeah,
what have you done in your life, hey? Yeah, shit.
Just pretty big deal. Same thing Donald Trump would say. Pretty big deal. Just saying. Great. Pretty good deal.
Donald Trump's next speech is going to have did you know I was the only person to defeat King Arthur during a jousting match?
Pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal. Pretty big deal.
Pretty big deal.
So he's known briefly as the father of Sir Galahad, the greatest knight of all Camelot. Lancelot was a Red Cross Knight, which meant that he was one of the knights in the quest to find the Holy Grail. He's a pretty big deal. So that's Arendite, the Sword of Lancelot. Moving on, we've got Failnaught, which is interesting, really interesting. I really like this. This is a bow. In Arthurian mythology, it's the bow of Tristan, and it is said to never miss its mark. It's pretty OP.
There's so many really well-named items. Like, they all sound so epic. This is called Fail Not because it doesn't fail.
Yes.
How on the... Is that what it's called in mythology as well? It's not just high-res being a bear.
No, yeah, that is a name. I don't know whether it's the only name. It also goes along with many of his other bows that didn't quite make it, which is a hit not. And
they're not as good bow. Fail sometimes.
But this Tristan guy, Tristan owns this bow. Why him? What's he ever done? He actually is also a knight of the Round Table. His mother died when he was born, and as a young man, he took service with his uncle Mark. I have an uncle Mark.
Maybe it's the same one.
Maybe, yeah.
Have you asked about his history?
I haven't. Maybe I should do that. Just as much like Lancelot in that he stands for everything that is noble. He is chivalrous and kind. Loyal and brave, he would protect his fellow knights and countrymen until the last drop of blood fell from his body. So, maybe not a pretty big deal, but he's a pretty good guy. He's got his priorities straight.
They're going to add these gods to Smite. They're going to be called Pretty Big Deal and A Pretty Nice Guy.
That's all they are. They're not gods. So, Tristan became the champion of his uncle Mark after defeating and killing Marhaus of Ireland in a duel.
In the middle of my street.
Shut up. Take my round of applause, you terrible man. So that defeat led to a truce with King Anguish of Ireland, and this king arranged for his daughter Iseult to be married to King Mark. Tristan was sent to Ireland to fetch this would-be queen, Iseult. However, whilst bringing her back to Cornwall, they fell hopelessly in love with one another and fled from Mark.
The best thing about the Arthurian pantheon is that it's all sorts, like, normally in mythology you expect these big dramatic names like, of Athens and of whatever. And I just love this. And he brought him back to Cornwall. Like, it's so anticlimactic. To go from these ancient Roman places and, like, Africa, Maya, Cornwall.
Cool.
Went back to our mighty town of Cornwall.
Sit on the beach.
Beach is a bit shit.
Yeah, really.
Get some fish and chips, though.
British beaches are just awful. Terrible things.
They are.
Yeah.
I don't. There's no point going to the beach in Britain.
We've had, for what, how many, 4 videos now in the new format, and in 2 of them, we've discussed how shitty beaches are.
This is a running theme from now on. So
that was Fail Not. That's the bow of Tristan. Never misses his mark. I guess he just used it in battle, just like Lancelot's thing as well. It was never part of his real story, I don't think. It was just kind of his weapon. Prydwen, next up. This is well known to be the shield of King Arthur, but it was originally known as Wynebukruthka.
There's no way it's spelt that badly.
Wynebwrthuchucher.
Jesus.
Anyway, there's not much story about this, and we obviously know who King Arthur is, but I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to call it Long Name. It was originally called The Long Name, and it's what I have it down in my notes as well. Whenever I want
just
to
long name.
Long name. Yeah. There was a bit of confusion actually, because obviously it was originally called this name. Sorry, Long Name. And Arthur's ship, which was used when he travelled to Ireland to fetch the cauldron of Dirknack and the boar Trith.
Why are all the names either impossible to say or Cornwall? There's no middle ground.
The ship that he used was named Prydwen 200 years before the shield was. Right? The shield was named Prydwen by a guy called Geoffrey of Monmouth. That's an epic name. Geoffrey of Monmouth.
Is Monmouth actually a place?
Monmouth. I'm going to say Monmouth. I don't know.
I think it's a place in Britain. Yep. It's a place called Monmouthshire.
Ah! That's where Joffrey comes from. Geoffrey. I'm going to say Joffrey. It's G-E-O.
Joffrey's better.
Yeah. So Joffrey was a writer of these legends, of the Arthurian legends, and he decided in a source to name Arthur's shield Prydwen, even though his ship was named that 200 years before. So basically what people have figured out over time is that instead of Joffrey calling this shield the long name, he called it the name of the ship because he made a mistake. He made the mistake of calling it Prydwen, and since then his shield has been known as Prydwen.
They're very similar things. I can understand the confusion. Yeah. Just jump on a shield and... Shit! We're sinking!
It's better than trying to hold up a ship to defend yourself.
I mean, if you hide behind a ship, you're probably fine.
It's a shield. Technically, it's a shield. Joffrey got it right. But that's the origin of the name Prydwen. And the final tier 3 item that we'll talk about is the Staff of Myrddin. Myrddin, I think, on the Smite patch notes, described as the focus of the most powerful wizard.
Isn't Merlin the most powerful wizard?
No. Myrddin, his legends centre on a known Celtic theme. It's like almost Welsh, I think. It also comes from Myrddin, is like a Welsh thing. He is said to have gone mad after the Battle of Arthurian at Arthurian, at which Ridder Cale of Strathclyde defeated Gwendolen.
Oh, yes.
He went mad. He went mad, and he fled into a forest as well, apparently. And he lived with the animals and received the gift of prophecy.
I think I know what's happened here.
Okay.
You said it was in Wales, right?
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that Merlin said in a Welsh accent sounds like Merlin.
You know what? Actually, I'm gonna carry this on because you've ruined a massive reveal later on.
Did I just predict that Merlin and Merlin are the same person because they have the same name?
Let's pretend that's not what happened. God damn it. Right.
They sound the same.
So Myrddin, who is nothing to do with Merlin, by the way, it was a madman living an existence in the Caledonian forest. There he ruminates on his former existence and the disaster of the death of his lord Gwendolen, whom he served as a bard. A version of this legend is preserved where Saint Kentigern meets a naked, hairy madman called Lalo Ken, said by some to be called Merlinum or Merlin.
Merlinum.
No, that's the reveal.
Wait. What? No way!
They're the same person!
Man, no one could have predicted that. There isn't a single person on Earth who could have predicted that twist.
So, long story short, Myrddin is the Welsh for Merlin, with a little bit of a different story, I think, in Welsh stories. But the biggest reveal of the whole video... So, obviously, it started out as a Welsh story of Myrddin. Guess who introduced Merlin into the Arthurian legends?
Merlin.
Fucking Joffrey of Monmouth.
Yes! Marvel said Infinity War was the most ambitious crossover of history. They were wrong. God, I love Joffrey.
I love looking at items. There's just a Wikipedia list of just all like mythological objects and items and weapons and stuff like that could come into Smite like down the road. I'd love to go into like, that kind of stuff. If you're interested in that, leave a comment because I'd be interested in talking about that.
We can go through all the trees one at a time.
Yeah, well, I mean, we could go through the trees and we could also talk about items that aren't even in the game. Just different sort of like what even is the Holy Grail?
Wow.
For example. Wow. This was Arendite Fail Not, Prydwen, and the Staff of Myrddin.
It literally sounds like someone's trying to describe the name Merlin. It's like someone goes, "Hey, what's your name?" My name isn't Purley, my name is Purdy. Oh, completely different person. Okay, let's go.
So thank you very much for watching this video. I mean, this is different. This was a different video. This is kind of one of the videos that we want to do on the channel that isn't necessarily linked to a series. It's just kind of a cool idea that we had and we wanted to talk about. Let us know what you thought about it. And Which item's your favourite out of these? I really like the one that lets you cast abilities twice, the Staff of Mirrodin.
Yeah,
that is going to be incredible.
Incredible and terrible at the same time.
Yeah, thank you for watching. We'll see you soon. Take care.
Bye-bye!